Nuthatches and creepers are very unique and interesting birds. Nuthatches have the ability to move around upside down along the trunks of trees. They can accomplish this because they have a specialized backward pointing toe. It may be a natural movement for them, but among birds it's a very unique way of walking down the side of a tree. Creepers, on the other hand, spiral up the tree trunks. Both creepers and nuthatches creep along the trunks, probing into the bark furrows with their bills, foraging for food. Creepers forage almost entirely on tree trunks, looking for insects in the bark crevices. Nuthatches also spend a lot of time on the tree trunks, but they also go out in the tips of branches and they eat plenty of seeds. Nuthatches stow away seeds and nuts beneath the bits of bark and small crevices to help them to get through the winter. When food is scarce, they are no strangers to our backyard feeders. With creepers facing up the tree and nuthatches facing down, they each have a completely different view and access to find food, and therefore don't need to compete as intensely. In our area, we have just one species of creepers, the brown creeper. They are small, silent birds that can easily go unnoticed, as their call is almost inaudible and they are well camouflaged against the bark of the tree in the shade of the forest. They glean, probe, and peck at the trunks with their long, down-curved bills. Starting near the bottom of the trunk, working their way up the tree to within several feet of the top, then they fly to the bottom of another tree and begin again. They mainly eat spiders, larvae, and insects, and sometimes eat nuts and seeds during the winter. Creepers spend their whole life on the tree trunks, even nesting in spaces where the bark comes away from the tree. They prefer forests with large mature live trees for foraging and loose bark dead trees for nesting. Our area is home to two species of nuthatches, the red-breasted nuthatch with its white eyebrow and a black eyeline, and the slightly larger white-breasted nuthatch with its all-white cheek. Male white-breasted nuthatches have black caps, while the females have a lighter gray cap. The same is true with the red-breasted nuthatches, where the male cap is black and the female cap is, again, gray. The red-breasted nuthatch prefers coniferous forests as a habitat. They spend a lot of time on flimsy branch tips picking seeds of cones with their long, thin beaks. White-breasted nuthatches prefer mature woods. They are often found in deciduous forests. They eat mainly insects, but they also eat a variety of seeds and nuts, especially in the winter. The pointed beaks of the red-breasted nuthatch comes in handy to chisel out holes in trees for nesting. They often excavate them on their own, which is quite a chore for these little birds. Both the male and female will participate. White-breasted nuthatches typically build their nest in natural tree cavities or abandoned woodpecker holes. They sometimes enlarge the holes, but rarely excavate them entirely on their own. The female white-breasted nuthatch does all the nesting work, including lining the cavity with soft materials. Nuthatches form monogamous pairs and generally mate for life. The pair work together to feed and raise the young and defend their territories from other nuthatches and hole-nesting birds. Red-breasted nuthatches collect the sap from pines, firs, and spruce and smear the entrance of their nesting hole. White-breasted nuthatches sometimes smear caterpillars with rash-inducing hairs on their entrances. The theory is that both sap and crushed caterpillars may serve as repellents. In the winter, nuthatches join foraging flocks of chickadees, perhaps partly because it makes food easier to find, and partly because more birds can keep an eye out for predators. I hope you enjoyed this video about these special little feathered creatures, and also find that nuthatches and creepers are truly unique and interesting birds.